Kabzaa, 17th March it is releasing. The next most anticipated movie from OP sir, and in the Kannada film industry also, after I think Kantara. So a lot of expectations on that movie. The trailer looks extremely promising. I'm excited for that movie as well. I'm pretty sure I'll book the tickets for the first or the second day itself based on how quicker I can get. Let's see how the movie is. Yes, I did manage to get the ticket for the first day show. Not exactly the first show, but I got the ticket for 17th March evening show, and I did see the movie on the very first day show. I'm very happy about it. A lot of mixed feelings about the movie. In fact, like as I told you guys a week back, and I was too excited about the movie, so I didn't plan to check too many reviews. I did see a couple of reviews, but actually those reviews were from the Telugu crowd, not really from the Kannada crowd. I don't know, like I think the premiere happened much earlier than the Kannada premiere, I think, but I did not understand much, so that's okay. So I went with an open mind to the movie. I saw it. As I told you, a lot of mixed feelings, but I thought like I'll give you a very, very quick review about what I felt about the movies, especially the positives and the negatives. There are quite a lot of them, in fact. And one really big news that's been going on today, which is 18th of March, after like a lot of people saw it yesterday, is that a lot of references being made to the KGF movie, comparing that with Kabzaa or relating Kabzaa and KGF. I have a few points that even I want to talk about regarding that, so let me try to do this very quickly. Two things that I want to tell: this review will be in English, not in Kannada, and the exact reason I'll tell it in the end. And the second thing is, if you are really worried about the spoilers, I would suggest please do not watch this review. You can probably come back after a few days or after you have finished watching, but there will be few spoilers. I might not be telling everything, but there might be few spoilers which might not make you happy. So first thing is first, like let's start with the positives. Okay, my biggest positive from the movie is seeing OP sir in this role. And never before we have seen Upendra sir in this type of role, the gangster, the mafia, big man kind of a role. I mean, he is kind of regarded in the Sandalwood as the father of rowdyism movie. Like who can not think about the Om movie? He was the guy who created this whole phenomena called the Om. Okay, nobody can beat that yet. But this is a new genre of things, movies that has been catching up in Kannada film industry, and it was very, very surprising to see Upendra sir in this role, and he has done a fantabulous job. I would say fantabulous job in giving his probably 110% to his role. He looks fantastic. His dialogue delivery, his action, everything is 10 on 10 in this movie. There is no doubt about it, and that's the biggest plus point for me, as I told you. The second thing is the story. The way they have put the story and the way the story is good, but every positive that I'm going to talk about now has its own perspective of negative, which I'll definitely be talking about. The story is good, the story is unique according to me, but I'll consolidate all the negatives later on. Next part is the story format. It's a very peculiar story format that is there here. Not new, but here it is more of like a narrative, but still non-linear. Especially in the first half of the movie, you can see voiceovers happening, referring to the past, talking about what happened, what events led to what, all those things. It's a very narrative, but still non-linear. You keep jumping between forward, backward, forward, backward. There's a lot of jump that is happening between the timeline. That's the very interesting part of the movie, but this is very evident only in the first half of the movie. Second half of the movie goes much with the flow, and the narration totally stops. That is a little bit of surprising, but that totally stops in the second half of the movie. Cinematography is very good, color grading is very good, but again these things also have a negative. The music is very good, but this also has a negative. The background scores are good, the songs are okay, maybe a little bit catchy, but why it is catchy, again we'll touch upon that in a little bit from now. But the elevation scenes, or the build-up scenes as what it was called in the past, and all thanks to the KGF, now it has been called elevation scenes, wherein you get the viewer's attention or curiosity building up through like few seconds of it. That is fantastic, and the way the music goes along with it is what makes the movie like mind-blowing. I would say mind-blowing. Some of the elevation scenes are very, very good, and the elevation scene, be it for Sudeep, or the elevation scene which is there for some of the antagonist killing, I would say, or probably even the climax elevation scene, all of them are very, very good. Okay, and the music goes along it very well. I did mention about Sudeep. Yes, this is a multi-starrer film. It's not just Upendra, you also have Sudeep in it. There is definitely our very own SRK or Shivrajkumar also in this movie. Why I would suggest go and see the movie, but I can definitely tell you that the first scene and the last scene have a lot of things to break your head about. Okay, why these two characters, who are these two characters, how do they come into picture, is what you'll keep on thinking, and that's the best thing about it. What happens next, or what is Sudeep's role, what is Shivrajkumar's role, what happens to Upendra, all these things is what you keep thinking when you come out of the movie. That is a positive, because once you come out of the movie, you should continue thinking about it, you should continue asking for questions, and that's exactly why I feel that the movie stands out really well. Now coming to the negatives, lot of them, in fact I'll tell a lot of them, technical and non-technical both. Let me start about the story itself. The story and the sequence is kind of becoming a template, I think. Again, there is a lot of uncanny resemblance to how the KGF movie was, the part 1 and part 2. Lot of reference to it. Okay, this whole mafia or gangster kind of build-up, this is kind of becoming like a template now. Okay, which I personally feel maybe another 1 or 2 movie more, and then I think this will get saturated. This will become more of like the type of character that Golden Star Ganesh was doing. He tried to do too much of this young active lover boy character, and people got saturated of it after 2 movies. The same thing here, we already seen KGF 1 and 2. Now that we have seen Kabzaa, any more movies coming in this template, I have a personal feeling will not work. Okay, and that's the biggest negative of this particular story format or the theme. Considering that it is a gangster movie and a lot of violence and all those things, the way the violence has been glorified, I personally did not like that. Too much of bloodshed, too much of the way the things is shown, I personally did not like. So I was seeing few reviews wherein it's like people were, I think they were exaggerating, Pakka family entertainment, Pakka family. I would say no, it's not good for kids. I mean, definitely does not send out a positive signal, but the visuals also is not something which I would say is good for kids. Okay, it's over what you call glorification of violence and killing and all those things, which is very evident in the first half, maybe 2/3 of the movie, and the first half is like it's too evident. That's what I felt did not work for me. The third one is the conflict resolution. Throughout the movie, you can see that the protagonist and the antagonists, that's the plural, there are multiple villains in the movie. The way the hero goes ahead and removes each and every one of the villains, it seems very simple, extremely simple. You're expecting some kind of a conflict, some kind of like a retaliation, wherein you see the like if you remember KGF, the way Rocky Bai enters this whole Narachi, a lot of things are shown around it. But in this movie, every single villain who gets removed from the scene it looks very simple, extremely simple, and there is no retaliation or anything from the villains at all. He makes it look very simple, which I don't think so works well. There should have been a little bit more, maybe that would have dragged the movie a little bit, but it could have been handled really well. The story could have been handled well if the conflict and the conflict resolution could have been portrayed a little bit better. Okay, which also means that there are too many negative characters. Okay, and all of them gets opposed by the hero, just like KGF. Again, we'll talk about all the KGF references in a short while from now, but just like KGF, there are a lot of negative characters here, and the hero goes and removes each and every character. Like, you feel that how many more fights he will have, how many more villains he will kill. Like, too many guys, too many villains, and like they're coming from south, from north, from outside India, everywhere. Okay, that I felt is like too strange, because it's not that there should not be multiple villains, but showing that there are multiple villains and removing them very easily is not gelling along well. The sequence is not gelling along well. And in fact, there is one particular scene, again this is a spoiler, there is one particular scene wherein the main villain, what gets portrayed in the movie, when he gets killed by Upendra, there are a lot of people who get agitated. Okay, and the people who are the followers of this villain, and the way it is being brought out is like these are people from different cultural or language background. Like, there are Kannadigas, there are Hindi people, there are Tamilians, there are Telugu people, there are Malayalam guys. Everyone is getting angry that the hero has killed the villain. And they just, like, that particular scene, how I don't know how long it lasts, probably a minute or something like that. Everyone is so upset that how can he even kill our boss? I will go and kill him. I'll be the first person to kill him, like that. But nothing happens after that. None of these characters get shown at all. None of them. There is a group of people who go and attack the hero, but whoever are these five guys, like the way they portrayed them in that 1 minute, we don't get to see them at all after that. None of them are there in the fight scene which follows up after that. So that is kind of like confusing. Like, if you see this movie very seriously, you're like, what happened to these guys? Few people got killed when they're fighting with the hero, but what happened to those guys who were telling that who killed our boss and all those things? So that's where the negative characters, the way they came, the way they went, is you'll be perplexed as to what is happening or why it is happening. Because just like this negative characters, the overall character selection itself was a big negative, I feel. Okay, this is totally my perception, but it is a pan-India movie. It is getting released. It has got released in Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, and all those things. And probably that is one of the reasons why the director has gone ahead and casted non-Sandalwood actors in it. But somehow it is not working well. I mean, somehow you see, I mean, for a Kannadiga like me, I'm not able to relate those characters in a Kannada movie. And what makes it even more awful or disastrous is that the dubbing is very bad. Okay, for all of these non-Kannada people, a voiceover had to be given, probably by somebody here local, but the voiceovers and the acting on the screen, there is zero lip sync, zero, and it was not at all expected from such a big movie. I was surprised that such a big movie with such a big star cast and most familiar people from other film industries who are acting here in very big roles, the voiceovers are not at all in sync. Somehow they could have covered it up, done something, but no, the only plus point is the heroine's voiceover person, who I think is the same person who has done the voiceover for Radha in the Sri Krishna serial that comes in the TV. It's very recognizable and it's very relatable. The heroine Shreya's voiceover is by that person. If not for that, I think everybody else's voiceover has been really disastrous. That is a big negative. The dubbing is gone. Again, moving into more technical side after dubbing, next is the songs and the music. I said the music is good, but considering that it is Ravi Basru's music, for some reason it is extremely predictable and it's very relatable to the KGF background score and the music. The main song, which is a hero song in the Kabzaa, which is already released on YouTube, it's very evident that it resembles to the Salam Rocky Bhai song of KGF. And the background score, many places you feel similar beats, similar rhythms, which makes it feel a little bit boring. Okay, the little bit boring. And there are, I think, 3 or 4 songs, and I did not feel that it was actually required. Maybe the very intro song of the heroine is good because of the way they have glamorously showed it. It's the rich feeling, but again the song is not catchy. You will not remember it, you will not hum it after you come out. Even the hero song that I was telling, that is also not very catchy here. The Salam Rocky Bhai was extremely like viral, but here the same thing now with a different wording, somehow it is not well. And there is an item number which is shot in a club. No, absolutely I still don't remember what's the song. Okay, the songs are like really totally all over the place. I personally felt they could have avoided this song instead of just putting it for the sake of putting it in a template, that there should be one item song, there should be one hero song, one heroine song, like that. Next is editing. We spoke so much about the cinematography and grading. Editing, as much as editing is good, something which has been copied or influenced from KGF is this blackout transition jump cut editing. One scene, one particular sequence in KGF has that, the fight scene where they're going in a car and they do a lot of this blackout transition jump cut kind of editing that has been overused in the Kabzaa. For once you like it, but when you see it second time you're like, oh, it's happening again. But you realize that throughout the movie it's repeatedly used. And the jump cut blackout kind of editing, I don't think so it works more than once. If you do it once it is fine, but again here it is used like to go back in time and come forward and all those things, so it's really confusing and it's actually irritating. That whole jump cut editing thing is actually irritating. The grading is good. In fact, I'm not telling that it's kind of like set in that 1950s 1970s kind of timeline, and it has that grungy dark feel, which is again very similar to KGF, but that has been overused. There could have been situations wherein the grading could have been better, which is especially when they are showing the heroine or if they are showing the heroine's father, who are actually from royal background. That could have been colorful, that could have been vibrant, that could have been shown as rich. But if not for the intro song of the heroine, rest all the places, even the heroine, though she is dressed up in very royal look, the grading makes her presence very subdued. That kind of took away a lot of the cinematography is so good that the grading is so bad that it takes away all the good that cinematography did. Okay, that's something which I want to talk about. The last negative thing I would say, the big negative thing I would say, is the set and the CGI. The set is very, very evidently KGF 2 set. In fact, it is the same art director who has worked on KGF and Kabzaa, which is Shivrajkumar, not me. So there has been a lot of memes already today telling that a discussion between Prashant Neel and Chandru from Kabzaa, telling that Chandru rather asking Prashant Neel not to destroy the KGF 2 set because he wants to reuse it in Kabzaa. I mean, it's so evident. You see the scenes, it's very evident that the set is a reuse of KGF. May or may not be, but it is extremely evident. That's the thing. Last part is the CGI. Okay, when it comes to technical, and it's a disaster. It's extremely disastrous. A lot of these aerial shots, a lot of the shots wherein they're showing the heroine's house, a lot of which is actually a palace, a lot of the shots where they're showing the hero's house after he becomes a youngster. It is such a cheap CGI. It looks very immature, it looks very unpolished. It's not at all fitting into the scene. Such a good cinematography, probably such a good grading, but the CGI is completely disaster. It looks like cartoon. It really looks very immature is what I felt. Two smaller things regarding characters that I wanted to highlight, which I felt negative, was Upendra's brother has been portrayed by Sunil Puranik, who is also from Kannada film industry. His role could have been shown a little bit more, I felt. What he does, I mean, he's there in the movie, he has a very prominent role to play, and his role is what shapes up Upendra's character in the movie. But he could have, the type of character that they have associated with Sunil Puranik's, it could have been even more, is what I felt. But again, if that has been more, then instead of just Kabzaa 1 and 2, it could have probably ended up with Kabzaa 1, 2, 3 like that. So probably that's the reason why they did not give too much of emphasis to Upendra's brother's role, which is done by Sunil Puranik. Second thing is the heroine herself. Glamorous, someone from a royal family and all those things, but somehow there is hardly anything for her to play. Like she does come in every now and then, but every time she comes, she's asking the hero not to become a gangster, not to use weapons, not to go killing people and all those things, and asking for the hero to make a promise. But eventually that scene gets cut, okay, because the scene such scenes always leads to a fight and the hero gets distracted there. So there isn't much of her role being portrayed. In fact, like in the end also, how does that progress is not, which is something which is kept blank and suspense by the director. What happens to the heroine role is still not shown clearly. That is something which I felt was strange. Okay, and not only such a good actress, such a good looking actress, and the way her character is built up and her costumes and everything is 10 on 10, but somehow her presence was not too evident. But on the other hand, I did feel that why couldn't we have used more of Kannada actors in the movie, be it the heroine itself or be it any of the supporting people, the heroine's father or any of the villains. I felt that there are a lot of deserving people, a lot of capable people, or probably even confidently say that a lot of people who could have done a much better role than what is portrayed in the movie. In fact, like that would have even added a lot of value to the dubbing aspect, because that would have looked natural than make it evident that these people are not from Kannada film industry. So these are the things which I felt were the positive and negatives. So if you actually heard it full, you might have seen that there are a lot of negatives which is seen. But I just want to end with a few statements. One is, go and see the movie with an open mind. Don't try to go with the thing that it is like KGF, it should be like as good as KGF or things like that. Go with an open mind, go with a mind to see a new movie, go with a mind to see Upendra portraying this new character, rather than trying to set expectation and come out probably happy or unhappy. I would say personally I am happy looking at the movie, and I feel that it will do really good. In fact, like the first day's collection, they have officially released that it is 56 crores, which is a Friday's collection, and there is weekend collection report yet to come. For sure it will make 100 crores in the first 3 days. Can it go closer to Kantara? Can it beat KGF? I don't know. I don't think so, but I'm not the person who should be worried about that. I've seen the movie, I liked it, and that should be it. So always go with an open mind to see the movie, appreciate it, come out. If you don't like it, just leave it there, rather than keep on telling that there is this is KGF copy, or this is KGF part 2A or 1A and things like that. So that's exactly what I wanted to tell. Now finally, before closing this, what I also want to tell is I will be making up a follow-up video which I will talk about a lot of this KGF resemblances that this movie has. It might be a short video unlike this one, and I'll be posting it immediately after this one, so please do also see that one. And again, see that only if you're not worried about the spoilers, and if you're seen, I think you should be able to relate all the things that I'm talking about. So that's what I wanted to tell. And in the end, before closing, if you remember, I told that this video will be in English and not in Kannada, because I know that Kannada people don't break their head too much. They go, they watch the movie, they enjoy, they appreciate it, they come out. This is meant totally for the non-Kannadiga people who don't know what the superstar Upendra is all about, who don't know what this Kabzaa movie is all about. I just want to tell them that this is a fantastic movie. Please do go and watch. That's exactly what I want to tell, and that's why I intentionally kept it in English rather than keeping it in Kannada, wherein the audience would have got limited to a very small size. Okay, thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Mate sigana.